Love this guy, Fred White, joining us now. VFL, former Tennessee safety. And Fred is a big part of the Celebrate 98 series. I mean, heck, he is a series. And it's gone incredibly well. And I learned so much about Jeff Hall. That's up on our YouTube page. So be sure and subscribe. Hit that like button right now and get the notifications on because we'll have more coming down the pike. Fred, so Boo Carter is announcing at the 4040 Club in New York City. I don't know if he's going to be in the Jay-Z Lounge, but there is a Jay-Z Lounge. You've rolled with me.
I've been there.
Oh, kudos. All right. Tell me about the Jay-Z Lounge.
It has a pool table in it.
I'm looking at
a couple of pool tables in it. It's nice. It's nice and plush. They bring out the nice bottles of champagne where you don't see the sparklies and all that type of stuff. You know, you don't want any. That's the executive suite.
Nice. All right. That's pretty cool. Do you think I could roll into the Jay-Z suite and, fit in?
Usually security takes you up to the Jay-Z suite in a whole nother, elevator or back steps. We don't want them to be taking you out of the place. Okay. So security guards are good for two things: get you in the VIP and get you out of the club.
All right. So there are a couple of things I want to get to. And kind of a big picture recruiting question right off the top, because I was thinking of you and the influence that Georgia prospects had in Tennessee in the 90s and into the 2000s. And for those that don't know, Fred is very close to not only former players that he played with, but former players at Tennessee. And he's also very tight there in the Atlanta community. And I'm just curious, there's some other things I want to get to, but how different is Tennessee viewed right now by Atlanta area prospects than maybe it was just a couple of years ago? Is there a significant difference?
Complete difference. If you see the show that we put on every week, the home games, the points we put up, the crowd noise, the checkerboard, Neyland Stadium, and those type of things, and you watch the fireworks after touchdowns or the fireworks to get the game started, and all the excitement that's going on in the stadium, I think those things have helped put Tennessee back on the map when it comes to saying, okay, if I'm a top recruit, I don't want to miss going there. Let me at least go check it out because it looks so good on TV. And if you come and actually see it in person, it makes a big difference. But not only that, it's what we did on the football field the last couple of years. And I think last year made people realize one thing. Okay, they're back. They're at least back on top with a new coach. They got something that's innovative. They got something that's could be, sports changing for the University of Tennessee. They can start winning championships again. They're actually in the conversation. So I think that's going to be big for us. Not to mention, you got two other teams coming into the SEC next season, Oklahoma and Texas. So you get a chance to play on an even bigger stage, even bigger than what it is right now, by adding two marquee teams like that. So I think Tennessee is right where they need to be when it comes to being highlighted by recruits. I think everyone kind of circles that moment that Tennessee sends them a letter now.
Fred, as a defensive player coming out of high school, would you have looked at Josh Heupel's offense and the fact that you're going to have to play 80 plays on the flip side because he's running 80 plays on the offensive side? Would you have looked at that as a negative at all?
Dave, I'm one of those guys that you might not ever want to ask that question to. I want to play with competition. I want to go out there and get it in. If I got 80 plays, that means I got 80 plays to get a tackle, get a knockout hit, cause a fumble, or get an interception. My whole thought process has always been, well, as a team with us in 1998 and the guys I played in the 90s, our rule was if they can't score, they can't win. So I don't care how many plays you're playing. Go out here and compete. If I can shut you down for 80 plays as a receiver and I'm playing DB, man, I'm going to talk trash about it the whole time. And it also looks good on film.
Let me turn this over to Caleb Calhoun, who is a big fan of the R. Kelly Lounge.
Talking about jail because that's where he's at. Hey man, I don't want to go anywhere with all guys. I'm sorry. You can go to R. Kelly's lounge as much as you want to. I don't like orange jumpsuits. I like orange jerseys.
All right, sorry for that intro, Caleb. Go ahead.
I mean, Fred, I was going to ask. It's funny because you're seeing Josh Heupel's offense. You're of a unique time of the SEC in that you got to face Steve Spurrier and Mike Leach, both offenses. So curious, having observed Josh Heupel's offense and having faced Steve Spurrier's offense and Mike Leach's offense. Now, I know Florida was tougher than Kentucky because Florida just was actually Kentucky. I know that. But so throw talent to the wayside, okay? Throw talent to the wayside. Assume that the talent was all even between the three. Which one do you think would be the most difficult to defend against?
Josh Heupel's.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Josh is. Well, here's the thing. Steve Spurrier, I understand more now than what I did before. The one thing I do understand about Steve Spurrier's offense, it was about getting the ball to a spot as opposed to being exactly on time with the ball and those type of things. I think also they knew what we were running. We ran quarters. He ran quarters beaters. Those are things that you do as a coach, to show that, okay, if this team is a quarters team, what offense can we run against them that makes them look average, really? If you're a team that runs cover 3 and cover 1, you can run route beaters, and that's what Steve Spurrier did those things. When it comes to Mike Leach, he just had a game plan and said, okay, we're going to do this, this, and this. Get the ball out in the hands of our guys real quick and real fast, run a fast-paced offense. They're running shorter routes, trying to get the ball out of the hand and timing routes, those type of things. If you put your hands on the receivers, it throws off the timing of the routes, which makes, if their quarterback is going to hold the ball and not go to his first or second read, it makes their offense not work very well. So with Josh Heupel, it's a different thing because you got RPOs. You can run the ball now out of the same set that you would pass that ball out of. Same formations, those type of things. And then you look at, they bait you into jumping routes. They bait you into jumping routes, then they also they'll make it to where you make a mistake. Whenever you make that one mistake, boom. He takes what you give him. And if you give him a big play, he's going to take the big play and they're going to hit it. And they're going to go fast. I think Josh's would be the harder one to go against because you run the ball a lot out of that set as well.
It's pretty interesting. I thought you might have it second to Spurrier, but no, that's
Spurrier had elite talent, guys like Fred Taylor, Jaquez Green, and those type of guys. Travis Taylor. You talk about guys who can go out and get the rock. You also had a guy who won the Heisman Trophy. I can't think of his name, but Danny Wolfel. So you're looking at guys who were very talented, and they had a coach who understood the game. So yeah, I look at it as I like what they did, but I think some of the things we did defensively in 98 and 99 changed up how I looked at his offense. I didn't think of it as being as dominant then. But if you look at the talent he had on that squad, those things were what made the team different.
Well, not to get too terribly sidetracked, because there's something I want to get to about incoming players, but was there a moment, or when did you feel like you kind of figured out Spurrier's offense?
I'm not going to say we figured it out, but we understood the concept. They run a lot of corners and slats and double curls at different levels. He was trying to get his guys in space where space was in zone defenses. He would run the same route on the same side. Say, for instance, you had a slot guy and a receiver on the outside. That means you have two receivers on one side, and then you have a tight end also on that side. And these two guys are off the ball. They'll all run curls at a different level, which means you couldn't cover it because you didn't have anybody underneath the other routes. Meaning your linebacker may have to drop underneath the curl from the tight end, and then your safety may have to drop underneath the curl from the slot guy, and leaves your cornerback wide open with a one-on-one situation on the comeback route. If he misses that route, it's touchdown. So Steve knew how to get things on different levels. And I'm not going to say we figured it out, but we understood the concept.
I got a Peyton question that popped up on the message board. Portions of the program brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. CityHeatandAir.com. Might not need a new unit. If your AC goes out in this hot weather, might just need a part or some coolant, and you're good to go. CityHeatandAir.com. 50 years in Tennessee. Integrity matters. Some others don't have that. So let's just say, for instance, that Tennessee plays Texas one day, which is going to happen. And let's just say, for instance, that a guy named Arch Manning is the starting quarterback at Texas. Who's Peyton Manning rooting for?
Arch Manning.
I thought so too.
Why is that?
That's his nephew. Why wouldn't he root for his nephew? He may not be rooting for the University of Texas, but he'll be rooting for Arch. I guarantee it.
It's true, because Archie rooted for you guys when y'all played Ole Miss. I remember.
Yeah.
96 and 97. That time y'all played in Memphis.
That was a very. Why wouldn't he root for him?
Well, now I'm with you there, but I'm curious. So, do you root for him to have a great game, or you do root for Texas to win, or ideally would he go like?
I don't know exactly how Peyton would do that, but I would root for, if my nephew's playing the quarterback for the other team, I'm rooting for my nephew. I'm sorry, but I'm going to be rooting for my team also. I may not root for his team, but I'm going to root for my nephew to do well. It's my nephew. I mean, that's your blood.